Okay, this morning on this morning's agenda, we have a few additional items. Consent item number 21, adoption of proclamation declaring Education and Sharing Day in Martin County. Item 22, adopt a proclamation commending Mark Kuffnagel III upon the achievement of Eagle Scout. Department number 5, request for additional ocean rescue lifeguard positions. Department 6, adjusted timetable for ordinance calling for a referendum on a 1/2 cent sales tax, local government infrastructure sales tax. We have one item on consent poll. That will be consent item number 5, purchasing manual. And we will also have a special presentation from the Stuart Martin County Chamber of Commerce when we get through the adoption of the agenda. So can we have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I will move approval of the agenda with the 4 additional items, the consent poll, and Department number 4, request to be withdrawn.
Okay. Second. We have a motion. We have a second. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay. First off this morning, we have a special presentation from the Stuart Martin County Chamber of Commerce. If President of the Stuart Martin Chamber, Joe Catrabone, would please come up, we will do some very special things this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you. I didn't realize we'd draw such a crowd here today to speak about Career Martin Connect, and so we're here to thank you. I'm sort of teeing it up for the rest of our team. But here to thank the Commission and staff for stepping forward. I need to regress before I get into that. In 1989, eons ago, when I became president of the Stuart Martin County Chamber of Commerce, we took a survey. I wanted to know the feeling of the members, how they felt, what the Chamber was doing right, what we weren't doing right. And the overwhelming response from 1,500 members was we can't hire people. In 1989, that was to me unique because I came here from Brevard County, Kennedy Space Center. We couldn't hire enough people. So it was unique to me when I got here. Today, it's not unique, obviously. It's worldwide. People cannot hire employees. Commissioner Smith and Deputy George Stokas happened to be at a meeting where I mentioned the problem we were having, and that I thought here 30 years later, the same complaint was we can't hire employees, 30 years. And I suggested that the Chamber needed to change our focus towards job development, job creation. Had no idea how that was going to occur or how we were going to do it. Later that day, I got a call from George Stokas who said, hey, I'd like to come and speak to you about job creation. I said, please do. Anyway, to cut through the chase, George mentioned to me that the county was receiving a $30+ million ARPA grant and that perhaps money could be carved out of that grant to help us with workforce development. He asked us to put together a grant proposal, which we did, presented it. It took some massaging before we finally got a contract with the county to do workforce development. And that's how Career Connect Martin was born. And I thank you all for your wisdom and for your insight and for the cooperation to react to our business community's needs. And so I'm going to turn it over now to Angela Hoffman, who is our Director of Operations and in charge of development, career development. And I'm going to ask them, we have some success stories for you here today, people who have completed the program and have been hired, and we have more in the works. I'll let them explain more to you. But again, I thank you so much for your cooperation and the insight to go ahead and fund this program for us. Thank you.
Angela, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Angela Hoffman, Director of Workforce Development with Stuart Martin Chamber.
Good morning. I'm Gina Masters, and I'm the Program Coordinator for the Career Connect Martin program. And we just want to thank you all for being here today, and thank you for giving us the opportunity. Thanks to your commitment, the Career Connect Martin program is a win-win program. It's creating opportunities for career seekers to experience paid on-the-job training while meeting the unique needs of Martin County employers. The cornerstone service of Career Connect Martin is trial employment opportunities, which provide job seekers with soft skill courses in resume writing, interviewing, conflict resolution, personal branding, communication practices, and money matters, just to name a few. As a trial employee, participants earn while they learn, a new vocational trade of their choice. In addition, there is a one-on-one coaching with Tim Kinane, the executive coach and disc profile team strength expert. I think he's here, Tim. Yes, if you can come join us at the podium. Tim, we really appreciate and we want to thank you for investing in the growth and development of all of our participants. Today we're here to celebrate our first 3 program completers receiving their next level employee designation and also recognizing their commitment to their chosen industries and employers. All 3 participants, we have 2 present here today, are not only completing their trial employment period, but have been asked to join these companies permanently as full-time employees. Today, we are here to, Please join me in congratulating our next level employees and our next level employers. First, we have Andrew Villar. He is an accounts assistant, and he's here with his employer. Savannah Mulvaney, his supervisor, and Pete Morello, who's the owner of CIS Security Solutions. They're a local employer here in Martin County. So thank you. Yes. We also have Miss Dariah Tippins. She's a warehouse associate. She's also here with Savannah Mulvaney and Pete Morello with CIS Security Solutions. So they've gained 2 new employees there.
It doesn't say handsome Pete.
I'm sorry, handsome Pete Morello. I apologize. Commissioner Smith, would you like to come down and join us for a photo op? Thank you. And one more that we have to recognize, he's not present, is Derek Tippins, and he's a marine industry apprentice, and his supervisor was Bert Dahl at Willis Custom Yachts. So he's working there full-time. They're a little busy over there. Each participant has completed more than 5 hours of soft skills training, 120 hours of on-the-job training, paid on-the-job training. Each employer has committed precious time and resources in developing their own training programs to ensure success. Thank you, Commissioner Doug Smith, for signing their certificates and recognizing them on this special day. Congratulations. We know that this success is just the beginning. Yay. For a photo? Okay. Are we done?
I wouldn't be Angela if I didn't speak to the employers in the room. This is a great opportunity for employers to get assistance with hiring, training, and retaining quality employees that are right here in Martin County. We want to help those that are underemployed or unemployed find great career paths here in Martin County because we know they're here and there's an opportunity for a wonderful, sustainable career that will help their family. So if you are an employer in the room, I have eyes in the back of my head, please come and join us. We are here to assist you and put really wonderful people to work in your companies. You can visit careerconnectmartin.org if you'd like to find out more information as a participant or as an employer. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for all that. Ms. Chris, I think what we'll do, given how many folks we have in the audience, I think we will take the purchasing manual update towards the end,
Okay.
so that we're not going tile. Is that all right with you? Let's see here also, too. Let's do our proclamations. Can we do them first?
Good morning, Commissioners. Laura Beaupre for the record. First up, we have a proclamation declaring Child Abuse Awareness Month in Martin County, Florida. Child abuse and neglect is a community responsibility affecting both the current and future quality of life of any community. All children deserve to receive love, nurturing, and care, and to live in communities that foster healthy growth and development. In recognition of April 2022 as Child Abuse Prevention Month, the board commends Hibiscus Children's Center, for their work of providing a safe haven and services, including mental health counseling, to Treasure Coast children and families. And here to accept, we have Ray Navarro, Chief Operating Officer for Hibiscus Children's Center.
Good morning, and thank you, Commissioners, for allowing us to be part of the meeting today to acknowledge Child Abuse Prevention Month. We appreciate your hospitality. I am Ray Navarro, Chief Operating Officer for Hibiscus Children's Center. A little about Hibiscus Children's Center. Hibiscus Children's Center is a residential child welfare agency operating on the Treasure Coast in Okeechobee County since 1985. All of us in our society want to desperately to end child abuse or neglect. While we're working on that, kids have to be taken care of. That's where Hibiscus comes in. If a child is removed from his or her home due to allegations of abuse or neglect, representatives of the Department of Children and Families cannot persuade family or friends to take care of the children. They call Hibiscus. They call other agencies as well. Hibiscus is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We never close, and we are there if the children need us. The agency operates 2 residential campuses on the Treasure Coast. One Hibiscus Village in Vero, and that accepts kids ages 13 to 17 years old. And then we have our local shelter, Hibiscus Shelter in Jensen Beach, who accepts children and infants to age 12. Even though there is an age demarcation, we make every effort to keep siblings together. Once on campus, a child may stay with us several weeks, months, or even years. Our staff are surrogate parents to more than 50 children every day. Our primary job is to keep kids' safety. That's the first priority. We also help kids imagine what a better life can be. Hibiscus employees have tremendous responsibility every day, and they do a great job. As I mentioned earlier, Hibiscus is a child welfare agency, but it's much more than that. Hibiscus is also a community mental health provider. We have a corps of very talented master-level therapists on site at both campuses, in addition to providing outpatient mental health counseling, who are supervised by a licensed mental health counselor. Last year, Hibiscus served more than 800 children and families on the Treasure Coast in Okeechobee County. Hibiscus provides several programs to try and prevent children from entering the child welfare system, such as supporting families in crisis, parents as teachers, and safe care program. Thank you.
Next, we have a proclamation declaring Sexual Assault Awareness Month in Martin County, Florida. Every day, too many women, men, and children across Florida suffer the pain and trauma of sexual assault in all of its forms. During National Sexual Assault Awareness Month, recognized in April, we recommit ourselves to lifting the veil of secrecy and shame surrounding sexual violence, expanding support and understanding for survivors, and strengthening our response. The board encourages all residents, law enforcement agencies, healthcare providers, and community and private organizations to support survivors of sexual assault and to work together to prevent these crimes in our community. And here to accept, we have Mindy Fetterman, who's founder and executive director of the Inner Truth Project.
Perfect, thank you.
Morning. Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you so much for having me. I'm here to represent the Inner Truth Project. My name is Mindy Fetterman. Before I say that I am the founder and executive director, I want you to know I am a survivor. I'm a survivor of rape and sexual abuse. That's why I started this organization. But I'm not the only one. I'm so thrilled that there's so many people here today. I'm embarrassed to say I'm not exactly sure why. I tried to see the signs outside, but here's what I do know. Most of the people in this room, I venture to say, are probably parents, grandparents, yes? So statistically, 1 in 4 girls is a victim of sexual abuse before the age of 18. For boys, it's 1 in 6. I raised my son in this county. I know a lot of you. I know your families. I know your friends. I recognize a lot of these faces in this room. The work we do, the things that I've experienced, are the things that your children, your loved ones, and your friends have experienced. This is not something that happens because of how much money is in your bank account, what color your skin is. It doesn't matter how you vote. It doesn't discriminate. But this is an epidemic, and it's actually time that we pay attention, because it's here and it's all over the country. And so I'm very proud that you give us the opportunity to talk about it. But for those people who truly don't believe that sexual abuse and rape and sex trafficking are real, I want you to know that last year, taxpayers paid $127 billion in mental and health care. That is directly to those of us who have suffered. So even if you don't think that you have somebody that you know or that it affects you, it's affecting your wallet. And I know everybody in here cares about that. Yes? So on behalf of all of the survivors that we work with, we receive about 7 calls a week to come into our program. Ages 9 to 83 we have right now, an 83-year-old woman we're working with. On behalf of all of our survivors, our staff, and all of our volunteers, and especially to you, Commissioner Campia, I want to thank you for standing with us, standing with survivors, and giving all of us an opportunity to come out of the shadows and not be ashamed. Thank you.
Oh, I always have my glasses on my head, so I don't even notice it. Okay, we're doing one more.
Taryn says take the glasses off, let's take the glasses off.
Well, there's a glare.
Oh, my wife uses them too, like I said, I have a fan.
Was it making like a halo?
Thank you so much.
Next, we have a proclamation celebrating the 95th anniversary of Lesser Landy and Smith. Lesser Landy and Smith have a mission to protect and rebuild lives of residents while enhancing the community in Martin County and surrounding areas by focusing on serious personal injury and wrongful death cases. Joseph Lesser established the firm's beginning back in 1927, both in terms of professional service and dedication to clients' needs, as well as setting a fine example of the importance of community service. The board recognizes the celebration of the 95th anniversary of Lesser Landy and Smith and applauds their service to the community. And here to accept, we have several folks, but leading the charge is Gary Lesser, managing partner of Lesser Landy and Smith.
We move as one. Members of the Commission, thank you for the honor and privilege of being with you this morning. I know you have a lot of important business to get to, so we appreciate you just giving us a couple minutes. My grandfather did start our firm 95 years ago, and a good chunk of that has been here in Martin County. And our lawyers were born here. They were raised here. They went to school here. Our lawyers have been actively involved in the community, in leadership, in community positions. You know, my grandfather came and started our firm in 1927, but the truth is he got off the train in 1926 to invest in real estate. He may have been too soon, and it did not work out for him. And he didn't want to go back to Rome, Georgia, so he started a one-man shop, and that's how we're here today. My grandfather had an expression that I'd like to share with y'all, and he shared it with me when I was about 9 years old, and I'll carry it with me for the rest of my life. And it goes like this. Every person on this earth was born a debtor. We're born a debtor to our family, to our community, to our church or synagogue, and our country. And no one should die leaving that debt unpaid. And that has informed me and our firm and the lawyers that I'm privileged enough to work with. Chuck Gary always likes to one-up me and say, "You're third generation, Gary, but I'm fourth generation." So we love being here in Martin County, being involved, making a difference, and we'll always continue to do so. And again, thank you for the privilege of being with you this morning.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, may I also acknowledge that Mr. Lesser is the next president of the Florida Bar Association. He'll represent this area very well.
Thank you.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. My nephew ran in the Boston Marathon yesterday, came in 188th overall, 25,000.
What was his time?
2:30.
30, it's a 5K.
That's an average day for him. He's a triathlete.
And on our final proclamation for the day, we have a proclamation declaring Historic Preservation Month in Martin County, Florida. Historic preservation is an effective tool for revitalizing neighborhoods, fostering local pride, and maintaining community character. The Martin County Historic Preservation Board has planned events throughout Martin County during the month of May to increase awareness and the need for public participation in historic preservation in order to save our local treasures. In recognition of May as Historic Preservation Month, the board calls upon the people of Martin County to join their fellow citizens across the United States in recognizing and participating in this special observance. And here to accept today, we have the Chair of the Historic Preservation Board, Sherry Lee.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for having me. My name is Sherry Lee. I'm the Chair of the Martin County Historic Preservation Board. We have a full calendar of events for everyone this year. The calendar will be on your website. With having the Historic Preservation Month, the first one is the kickoff at the Stewart Heritage Museum on Monday, May 2nd from 5 to 6 p.m. Also, we have a Preservationist of the Year award reception, which will be at the Elliott Museum on the 19th from 5 to 6 p.m. We also have a full calendar of events which celebrate the African American community's contributions to our history. Also, the Historic Preservation Board became a certified local government this year. So on behalf of the entire board, I would like to thank Martin County Commissioners, staff, and county attorneys for your help with that and your ongoing support. We thank you very much.
All right, first thing on the agenda this morning, Commissioners, you want to do Commissioner comments, or do you want to pass that? And yeah, okay. You have anything, Ms. Christie, you want to announce for us?
Yes, I do. So prior to the public comment, I just need to remind everyone that we are currently in what we refer to as an election season. We do have a county commissioner that is in an active campaign for re-election. Your public comment is to address the Board of County Commissioners as a whole. We do not allow partisan politicking, which is defined as advocating the election or defeat of a particular candidate. Use of words, dates, signs, props, and/or wearing apparel or a nameplate that convey a message or express advocacy for a person or group of persons is also not allowed. Thank you for your cooperation, and you have 3 minutes for your comments.
Okay, thank you for that, Ms. Krista. So we have a whole bunch of public comment this morning, and obviously we have an agenda item here, I think that, or a couple agenda items that most of you are probably here for. So we have public comment, but we also will have public comment during the agenda item itself. So I only have a handful that have indicated on their slip that they want to speak at the agenda item itself. You only get one bite at the apple, so when I call your name up, you can either choose to speak at public comment now, or we can take you up if you raise your hand, and I'll mark it accordingly and wait for the agenda item when it arrives. The first public speaker I have this morning is Elizabeth Underwood. Do you wish to speak now or during the public hearing? Please then, come on up. And following her is Diana Carroll. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. My name is Elizabeth Underwood. I reside at 2491 Northeast Myrtle Street in Jensen Beach, and I've lived in Martin County for 20 years. I am trained as a biologist and have spent my career working as both an environmental scientist and an environmental educator. I am here to ask each of you to reject the Urban Lifestyles Plan because it will clearly and irreparably damage Martin County. Our western lands serve a significant function, performing often unseen but extremely important processes called ecosystem services, which benefit us all. Oxygen production, groundwater recharge, erosion control, water and air filtration, absorption of floodwaters are just a few of these services. Healthy, intact natural systems offer higher quality ecosystem services and should be regarded as fiscal resources as well as natural ones. Especially important, water quality. It's important to all of us. It should be on the forefront of all of our minds. Development of our western lands will increase stormwater runoff, a detriment to our seriously ailing St. Lucie estuary, which we are watching die. Additionally, upon reading this proposal, I am left with two key impressions. First and foremost, the proposal contains ambiguous language, leaving many aspects open to interpretation. This is unacceptable and, frankly, irresponsible. Public workshops must be scheduled and held when such impactful changes to our comp plan are being considered. Changes like the ones proposed today should not be considered lightly. Calculated and careful planning are necessary if we are to have smart growth in Martin County rather than rampant sprawl. Residents of this great county enjoy a high quality of life thanks to past leaders and to some of the members of this very commission who have stood strong, resisted development pressure, and drew the figurative line in the sand we call our urban services boundary. I ask you to find the courage to walk in their shoes, to fight, not fold, when it comes to proposals to weaken our comprehensive plan. To protect Martin County's natural resources and serve its current residents, I ask you to reject rural lifestyles. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Diana Carroll. Following Ms. Carroll is Linda Smith, please.
Good morning. My name is Dinah Carroll. I reside in Rocky Point. Please vote no on Comp Plan Amendment 2108. I do not believe it is a good amendment for preserving our unique Martin County difference. I'm especially concerned about the fast speed in which this vote has been moving. Why the rush? Why the rush to amend the comp plan without engaging and educating the public on this new rural lifestyle plan? It seems some are more willing and interested in listening to developers rather than Martin County residents and taxpayers who already live here. Our comp plan has become synonymous with the phrase, the Martin County difference, which we love and cherish, and has allowed Martin County to remain different. If this comp plan amendment is truly a good option for Martin County, why not try to convince us with research-based facts? Why not take the time to hold public workshops and really answer questions? Why the rush? Rushing this vote before this amendment is fully vetted and understood lacks transparency and makes me suspicious. Slow down, vote no. The Martin County difference and Martin County's future is too important to rush this vote. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Linda Smith, you wish to speak now or during the public hearing?
She might be outside.
Linda Smith? Turn up your hearing aid. Thank you.
Linda Smith. I live in Jupiter, Florida, but I do own property in the Coral Gables area of Martin County in the urban boundary where my son and family live. They are currently working and going to school, so cannot attend these meetings. The Martin County Commission will consider two comprehensive plan amendments, PH1 and PH2, and a proposed PUD amendment, PHQJ-2, which will feature a multi-million-dollar home development with golf courses and other amenities for the rich. It is my understanding this proposal will only be approved if the adoption of the rural lifestyle text amendment and future land use map amendments get approved to the comprehensive plan. Somehow someone has persuaded everyone to expand this site-specific 1,500 plus or minus acre exception to the urban boundary to affect a possible total of 130,000 acres per the 1,000 Friends of Florida. Yes, these 130,000 acre landowners are not before you today, but they will be. Trust me from my experience in Palm Beach County. This could create sprawl worse than Palm Beach, Broward, and Miami-Dade. Sprawl from Atlantic Ocean to Lake Okeechobee. The proposed comp plan amendment will expand the Martin County urban boundary and ruin our conservation physical planning for restoration efforts including Loxahatchee, Serp, Loxahatchee, Loxalucy, and Palmar. Why is this being rushed? Why is it being rushed now? Maybe it's because someone is trying to push this through before all these people get organized, before the public realizes what's going on because they're all working and going to school or raising families. Please echo each speaker that speaks today on behalf of rejecting this plan by, pick a number, 5, 10, 20, to account for their neighbors and families that could not be here today. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Michael Piniella. Michael Piniella, do you wish to speak now or during the public hearing? Michael Piniella?
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Morning. My name's Michael Piniella. My name's Michael Piniella, and my wife and I have lived here for 30 years. And I want to say, please do not adopt the proposed rural lifestyle amendments to our comp plan. The rural lifestyle amendment is the sprouted seed for sprawl. The amendment will threaten, then destroy farmland and the agricultural foundation of Western Martin County's economy and labor force. Land prices will increase substantially, and the purchase of conservation lands and water protection projects will be very expensive.
No.
Productive farmland will be priced out of reach for regenerative agriculture and carbon sequestration projects that obviously we need on the planet right now. Our western lands provide, as somebody has already mentioned, free ecosystem services. These are rarely ever talked about and I think completely taken for granted. It is a fiscal issue. These free services that belong to us will be threatened. Wildlife habitats will be fragmented, ground and surface waters will be degraded, with pollution leading to more algal blooms from the Okeechobee Canal. And considering the Okeechobee Canal is like the spine that goes through western Martin County. The stormwater runoff is the main source of water pollution for this county, and we're just adding to it. Automobile-dependent sprawl will lead to more traffic with air and carbon pollution. Not only will our free ecosystems be lost, but our lands will be environmentally degraded. And with the collective loss for all Martin County citizens, all of us, doesn't matter what what party you belong to, we will be taxed for the consequences of this unwise development choice. We do not want this double penalty theft of loss and paying for the loss on us. We can be an example of sustainability. We can protect our county for our children, our descendants. What will Martin County look like in 100 years if we break open western Martin County? This is sustainability practice. We can, we must. It's obvious that the unwise comp plan change proposal is coming from a time where there's a lack of wisdom, but an abundance of pressure and money from the wealthy and
Sir,
developers.
your time's up. Thank you.
Okay.
Your time's up.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
David Hafner, please. David? Oh, we have mics out there.
He's coming. He's coming.
It's a 7-second delay.
You may be.
Yeah, I tried that. That didn't work so well. David, good morning.
Good morning. David Hafner, Martin County Farm Bureau. Martin County Farm Bureau supports the rural lifestyle land use designation. As much as I would like to say we need to keep our farmland from being developed, farmland is often the last resource that a farmer has to gain needed capital to continue farming or to use it when the farmer has reached the end of a long career and is looking to retire. At Martin County Farm Bureau, we believe the rural lifestyle land use designation will offer a chance for farmers to reinvest in themselves and continue their farms. As we understand it, there has been a text amendment to only allow this land use on parcels adjacent to the urban services boundary. Although we believe the Atlantic Fields project to be a good project, we believe this land use should be available to all Martin County landowners and should not be restrictive. Just one last piece is when we sat through the Guardians had the workshop, and in the discussion of that, what could happen if this goes through, it will take the value of development off this land, which actually make it more affordable to farm. So just wanted to let you know we do support this and appreciate your...
Please, that's not appropriate.
Thank you, David. Next speaker is Mary Straczynski. Following Mary is Mr. Scott Fay.
Morning. Thank you for your service. My name is Mary Straczynski. I'm a retired physician, and I'm speaking today in the interest of the public health and the common good. To quote from The Economist, April 2nd, 2022, special report in the future of Florida, quote, "The collapse last year of a condominium tower in Surfside, which killed 98 people, had a tragic Floridian edge, born of neglect and short-term savings against long-term sustainability and lack of oversight," end quote. Now, to quote policy 4.13A.18, a proposed comprehensive text plan amendment 2108, quote, The Rural Lifestyle Future Plan Use designation is intended to guide development of self-supporting, self-contained and rural communities, including affiliated recreational amenities, with an emphasis on maintaining and enhancing natural and man-made open space and promoting sustainability and stewardship of the land and water, end quote. This type of sustainability washing language is rife throughout this document. There is absolutely no mention of objective criteria, oversight, or accountability to meet sustainability guidelines. These types of guidelines are elaborated in infrastructure and green building codes such as LEED and the United States Green Building Council. They include checklists, charts, and are overseen by impartial third parties. In addition, to quote Morris Crady from the March 23rd Guardian-sponsored Rural Lifestyle Workshop, quote, "When we submitted this application, it was as an exception, ... but in context, staff encouraged us to take a step back and encouraged us to resubmit a new category of land use, this rural lifestyle land use category," end quote. It is my current understanding, unless I am incorrect, that the Martin County staff takes direction from the county commissioners and not vice versa. It can only be surmised from this that all or a majority of the county commissioners encourage staff to, in the words of the late Maggie Hercella, and I quote, "make the most dramatic change to the county comprehensive plan since it was adopted in 1982, end quote. All of you commissioners promised when you were running that you would defend Martin County's precious comp plan and urban boundary. I disagree strongly and medically with the essential gutting of our award-winning Martin County comprehensive plan. Under no circumstances should approval of CPA 2108 and CPA 2109 proceed without, at the very least, a series of open, televised, county-run public workshops in which that is, the taxpayers' concerns are addressed and resolved in an open and transparent manner. I respectfully request that each of you vote no to CPA 2108 and CPA 2109. Thank you for your service.
Mr. Fay, followed by, is it Kathy Pederuti? Is that correct? Close anyway? Thank you. Mr. Fay, good morning.
Good morning. Scott Fay, Hope Sound. Wow. Pretty charged room this morning. And I'm just in total disbelief and shock. I never would have believed such a great opportunity to come to Martin County would be looked at the way it is. We live in an incredible place and we have managed it really, really well. This is 2022 and we have to accept change. We have to have growth. We have to have careful growth. Every one of us in this room and in the hallway and every one of us in Martin County live in a place that at one time was either agriculture or natural land at one point. Like, just because it was ag or natural doesn't mean it has to stay that way forever. There is a point. And it seems that we're good with building our own house, but then when somebody else wants to build, that's not acceptable. And that's pretty small thinking. We've got great land to our west, and we're going to continue to take care of that land. This is one of the greatest opportunities to be handed to us. And as a longtime member, a resident of Martin County, I'm grateful for our waterfront communities, our Jupiter Island, and places like Loblolly, Sewell's Point, Sailfish Point. These communities take very little from Martin County and contribute a lot to Martin County. And this project will do the same. This project will potentially add so much to our community and take very, very little away from. This has not been rushed into. A lot of thought has been given to this. And then if we look at Becker Holdings and the family and the organization behind this property who have been great stewards of the land that they have. They're not this massive development company that just irrespectfully manages land. They're giving back some great public benefit in this project and are going to give even of this project. and continue to be great stewards. I think we should be mindful of the rights of property owners. I think we have to be mindful of our comp plan. But we have to keep the big picture in mind, and we have to be forward-thinking. This is such a great opportunity, and I hope you'll stand. And I'm here representing all the people that can't be in this room because they're working today, and the jobs that will be brought to this county for the services that will be needed with this project. Thank you for your time.
Kathy Petaruti, followed by Ray Denzel. Mr. Denzel? Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Good day, Commissioners. My name is Kathy Petaruti, and I am a 13-year resident of Martin County. During this time, I have truly come to appreciate the Martin County way of life. I realize that our lifestyle is quite unique for Florida. We have had brilliant and visionary past commissioners who have worked tirelessly to maintain sustainable growth for our community via an exquisite, forward-thinking, comprehensive growth plan instituted in 1982. In the public comments that were submitted to the DEO in February, approximately 163 people contributed letters or emails expressing their concern for or against the Rural Lifestyle Amendment. The breakdown of this correspondence is as follows. 1.22 or 2 letters were neutral. 2.5% or 4 letters supported the new amendment. 96% or 157 letters opposed the new Rural Lifestyle Amendment. Now, if I am not mistaken, all the current commissioners promised to support and defend Martin County's comprehensive plan while they were campaigning. If I am not mistaken, as commissioners, you were elected to represent your constituents. And if I am not mistaken, you as commissioners are to be the voice of we the residents you serve. Well, the people have spoken in a concerned, thoughtful, and intelligent manner. Dozens of Martin County residents have respectfully and responsibly come before you over the past several months requesting that the comprehensive plan not be altered and the Rural Lifestyles Amendment be defeated. Not only did the citizens of Martin County cogently and rationally express their concerns, but multiple other organizations expressed significant concerns also. These include the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity, the Loxalucy Headwater Steering Committee, the Martin County Conservation Alliance, South Florida Water Management District, 1,000 Friends of Florida, and most recently, the Guardians of Martin County. For example, the DEO expressed concerns that maximum density and intensity issues were not described in detail, nor were standards for these issues defined. The Loxalucy Headwater Steering Committee identified 11 unanticipated adverse impacts that are likely to occur. The Martin County Conservation Alliance expressed their concerns regarding density inaccuracies, inadequate infrastructure planning, and environmental issues. Whoops. Certainly, I cannot do people justice with this short summary. I respectfully request that each vote no to the Martin County Rural Lifestyle Amendment. Thank you for the extra second.
Mr. Denzel, followed by Pete Morello.
Good morning, everybody. Ray Denzel. I was here previously when we had the exchange of chairs and computers as Doug and Stacy made the switch. And on that day, I asked you not to make any changes to the comp laws that we have going on. That I pleaded not to turn Martin County into Broward and into Palm Beach. And unfortunately, it seems like you've doubled down on everything like that. A developer asked for 1,500 acres as an exception, and we decided, God, we're too busy. Let's make it 138,000. This way we don't have to put this up anymore. It's wrong. The consideration for the rural lifestyle, it shouldn't happen, and we should have more consideration for low-income housing for the workers that have to live in here, and for all the jobs that are being sought to be filled. So I hope that you all will vote against this plan, all right? We do not deserve it. As previous speaker says, it's very important to keep things the way they are. There's always change, but not wholesale change. We can't gut it, because if you want to look like Boca, concrete from one side to the other, you'd be on your way. So again, Ray Dunzel, thank you very much.
Pete Morello, followed by Peter Conzi. Morning.
Good morning, guys. Thank you so much, and thank you for allowing me to have a wonderful, wonderful county commissioners of all you guys. I think you're working hard for us. And I want to talk just a moment for that rural plan. When I'm thinking about bringing money into this county, tax money, and I'm thinking about bringing jobs, I really don't see any better way than what we're seeing. Keeping it close to the highway, so this way the only traffic that's coming into our area or the use of our beaches is going to bring money to my UPS stores. I have 2 UPS stores in Martin County, as well as owning CIS Security Solutions, which is based out of here, that does global sales. I think making sure that we grow properly, sustainably, is the right way to do it. And I feel like this is a good choice. I feel like bringing in the tax revenue on 300 plus homes that would be brought in over 8,000 homes is a great way to get an influx of capital to make sure that we keep this area clean, lively, and the Martin County that we all love. And I think it's important that if we can get that money with less impact, with less people driving, with folks that tend to not stay in their homes year round, that don't tend to use our schools, that don't tend to use our roads. So this tax revenue is going to maybe afford us to pay teachers better. Maybe it's going to afford us to build better schools, larger schools, fix up South Fork. I know that was a big deal when it came to the gym for a long time. Getting an influx of capital for me without actually folks using it is kind of like opening a gym and everybody pays their dues but never comes and uses the equipment. It's really not a bad place to be if you think of it money-wise. Now let's put that aside and talk about our community. We are not letting a dog and pony show in here. The folks that are coming to build premier developments all over the world. Exclusive, elite, amazing, beautiful places. And if I was to describe Martin County, I would say it's kind of an exclusive, elite, beautiful place that I was lucky enough to fall into about 17 years ago. I am happy to be a business owner. I am happy that I voted for you guys. And I trust that you will be good stewards of our area, knowing that, gosh, I want to say a couple of years ago, maybe more than a few, people were railing on that plan. They didn't want anything to happen. We don't want to follow that comprehensive land life plan or whatever it is. And now I'm hearing those similar folks defending it, which is odd for me. All I know is I look at everything individually, and I always see what I think is best for the community. And I also believe that people generally are not malicious in their intent. And I don't think you guys are. And I'm hoping the folks that come here aren't either. Do me a favor, do what you feel is right for this community, and I'll be happy either way. Thank you.
Mr. Conzi, followed by Robin Cartwright. Mr. Conzi, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Peter Conzi, and I serve as President of the Guardians of Martin County, a 501c3, committed to educating residents about the value of balancing natural and man-made resources to enrich our quality of life, which we call preserving our Martin County difference. The package under consideration today is loosely referred to as the Rural Lifestyle Zoning Amendments, the RLZ amendments, consisting of the text amendment of our Martin County's Comprehensive Growth Management Plan, its related future land use map amendment, and the accompanying planned unit development arrangement, all as they apply to the proposed Atlantic Fields development. Last Friday, the Guardians issued a position statement in which we declared our opposition to the RLZ amendments as currently proposed for a variety of reasons. We urge the Commission not to adopt the RLZ amendments today, principally for the reasons I will outline as I continue. The simple fact is that we see no necessity to abandon the current designation for agricultural land under the comp plan for the sake of one developer since the developer can apply for approval on his own rather than have the county create a new land designation for the entire agricultural area just to accommodate such a development. Citizens have not been informed definitively of the full extent of the land area to which the RLZ will apply. Practically speaking, we note the lack of planning for appropriate corridors, the lack of fully disclosed housing requirements, and plans for workers, staff, and ancillary support facilities, as well as the lack of forecasts of traffic and highway use and impacts on other levels of county services like beaches, native habitats, and wildlife. And technically, the proposal requires full determination of advanced water treatment systems, water quality monitoring and control of discharges, as well as possible potential impacts on the adjoining agricultural areas due to their more proximate development in contiguous domains. While we understand many of these issues can be explained, and to the extent they may represent future problems which should be anticipated, probably solved in discussions with the developer and the county administrative staff, we also maintain that Martin County citizens are fully entitled to explore all these aspects of the proposed RLZ amendments, and we realize that this process takes time, to which our citizens are also entitled. So we recommend first that a moratorium be declared on all other pending comp plan amendments in the agricultural zone until all the relevant issues relating to Atlantic fields can be fully identified, discussed, and settled. By second, a dedicated task force appointed by the Commission of members of the public, including recognized experts in related fields and administrative staff. Finally, we wish to suggest to the Commission that all of these activities become salient parts of a new Martin County environmental initiative to be embraced by the Commission as the means by which all related aspects of the comp plan can be supported.
Your time's up, Mr. Cons. You want to submit that for
I do indeed.
the record?
Robin Cartwright,
Thank you very much.
followed by Linda K. Richards. Good morning.
They're asking who's after me before I begin. Linda K. Richards.
Yes.
Good morning, Commissioners. Robin Cartwright. The rural lifestyle land use change is irresponsible and not thoughtful nor considerate to Martin County or its residents. And the zoning change requests on the agenda are questionable also. The comprehensive plan is the guiding principle by which all decisions should be made. As you know, there was a recent ruling against the City of Stuart over future land use overreach. Let me share the lessons we learned. It doesn't matter if the applicant is a nice guy. I'm sure they're all great. It's irrelevant when the comp plan is being compromised. Environmental concerns should be documented and heeded. Infrastructure should be in place or have a plan in place prior to any future land use approval. Infrastructure includes proper stormwater runoff and treatment. Traffic studies should be realistic. Maximum densities need to be proposed as part of the future land use amendment. And here's my favorite. An ill-conceived and poorly vetted ordinance can successfully be challenged by a community member because we will win. Any changes or future land use or zoning amendments need to be thoughtful, inclusive, and sustainable. Additionally, we as community members should know what conversations you've had with the landowner, the developer, and anybody looking to apply for this future land use change or profit from any land use change. Simply acknowledging that you've met with and had discussions with someone is not sufficient. We deserve to know what you've discussed, as you are voting based on those discussions that we are not privy to. There is nothing about this specific future land use process or consent agenda that has been open and honest. And I'll close with this quote from Walter Cronkite. Ethics must be reintroduced to public service to restore people's faith in government. Without such faith, democracy cannot flourish. Your ambitious agenda is filling a desperate need. I encourage you to vote no for the future land use change, or at a minimum table it until community discussions can be had, and to pause on the development of approvals. You and your staff have yet to do truly your due diligence and to honor your responsibility to us as a community.
Following Ms. Richards is Barry Serber. Following. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Longtime listener, first-time caller, as I'm normally at work this time. My name's Linda K. Richards. I live in Cabana Point Circle. I was born and raised here in Martin County, as was my mother. I actually don't have comments prepared today. I really just want to say that these people who are here today are your constituents. They vote for you and they put you here. You need to listen to them. That is really what I have learned over the last few years of working to look at the development in the city of Stuart and in Martin County. And I hear the city of Stuart say, we need to put our development to prevent urban sprawl. And then you turn around and you look at you guys and this new future land use, which is urban sprawl. So our city is doing one thing, our county is doing one thing. Neither of you guys seem to be wanting to work together. So here we sit and we look at what all the people before us have fought and all the commissioners have fought to keep Martin County special. We don't want to be Wellington or Boca Raton or Del Rey. We want to be Martin County. Okay? The people who live here now deserve to be listened to, and the developers who are coming in and paying big money to these people to take this land and to take it away from us, to build golf courses, which are environmentally disastrous to our environment, to build places where they're going to use so much of our natural resources to make it absolutely beautiful for them to look at 1 month out of a year that they come to use their things. It is not right for us to sacrifice our land, our natural resources, to take away agricultural land that needs to be used to produce food for us. We give that up, it never comes back. You don't get to say, oh, we want to turn that back into agricultural land. No. You become more dependent on South America to provide us our vegetables. Is this really what we want for Martin County? I ask you to listen to your people who are here. And I want you to think about the people who can't be here, because it's 10:05 in the morning. And I know that most of the people my age are working. So with that, I hope you vote no to these amendments.
Thank you, ma'am. Barry Serber, followed by Carol Fitzpatrick.
Wow, I'll tell you what. Well, I've noticed one thing, that all the people that have come up against the plan have a lot of facts. And the couple of gentlemen that came up for it had a lot of opinions. Well, then I'll be the first person to come up here with to be against this plan with an opinion. And I'm not going to, there's been so many facts that even I'm befuddled by it. But I do have to say I'm a little confused by the name rural lifestyle. Now, I lived in rural Virginia in the mountains, and rural lifestyle wasn't $1 million homes. It was getting up in the morning at the crack of dawn, building your fences, fixing your fences, feeding your cows, chasing your cows. That's rural lifestyle. A note to you all, and I appreciate, I really do. You got a job, I don't want it. I don't want any job, but I don't want it. But you do have the burden of trust. And trust is a burden. You all are here to protect the way of living here in Martin County. You're the protectors, not the purveyors of the way we live. Now, I've yet to speak to a person in Martin County, not that I go out and speak a lot, who's like a real champion of the traffic of this area. There's a lot of traffic, it's annoying, it's frustrating, and there's a bunch of people who do not know how to drive. And I'll tell you what, if you do this plan, we'd be importing a lot of other people that do not know how to drive. We got enough of them here. All right, now, has there been a real cost analysis of this thing? All right, because it will require fire, police, health, doing the roads. Look, we're not kids. We've been around to the rodeo. We know it costs money to do these things. Now, when somebody says it's going to pay for itself, we have heard that with so many things, not only in Martin County, but all over. And if anybody believes this is going to pay for itself, I can tell you what, I've got a bridge in Brooklyn.
Sir, your time's
and
up.
I'm going to sell you.
Your time's up, sir. Sir.
Mrs. Patrick, please. Ms. Fitzpatrick, followed by Alexandra. Furtado? Following, please, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
If our county has 80 zoning plans in the comp plan, a comprehensive plan acts in guiding role and provides recommendations on how land should be utilized to meet the needs and desires of the community, whereas a zoning ordinance regulates land uses as recommended by the plan. If you could accomplish development without changing comp plan, in my opinion, most constituents would not be outraged. It was stated January 20th, Commissioners' meeting, that workshops would be held. Mr. Smith, you did not honor nor do you follow through with your commitment to your constituents. Tell me, why do we need commissioners? The guardians of Martin County who stepped up and held 2 public meetings addressing the comp plan amendment. County planners were in attendance. Sarah Hurd was the only commissioner to attend. It is all the commissioners' responsibilities and county to hold workshops. All constituents need to acknowledge the guardians of Martin County for stepping in to do your jobs. Hopefully, you will respect their findings. The guardians are opposed to the Rural Lifestyle Zoning RLZ amendment as currently proposed. Commissioners, this is your job that you were elected to do. With all added traffic, it would be wise to have infrastructure in place before developments are approved. Tell me, are taxpayers paying for widening the roads? Bridge Road in season has traffic backed up. When was county study done to determine that the road did not need to be widened? Our hospitals are at code at this time. Has anyone from county asked the hospitals for their opinion? County purchase of 30 acres off Canna Highway in rural area for Martin County maintenance facility. Does this property run along the St. Lucie waterway? Will this property have any contaminants? If so, how will it affect our already existing waterways' continuing problems? They are in peril at this time. This purchase is up for final approval today. With no knowledge of discussion beforehand, how can that be? Does it mean you already have set your minds to approve the amendment? If so, shame on you. I, for one, will remember your actions of today, come Election Day. Thank you.
Alexander Furtado, followed by Arlene Berry. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Alexander Furtado. I'm from Stewart. Good morning, commissioners. Good morning, everybody that showed up today behind me. I don't have anything prepared today, but I've heard a lot so far. And something really stuck with me that I wanted to reiterate again. Mr. Gary Lesser said earlier today that we all are born debtors. And I think that the people here today, including myself, we feel that we have a debt to Martin County, and we're trying to repay that. We're trying to protect what Martin County is and what it has become for myself. I'm only recently new to Martin County, and so it's made a big impact on me. And to see that it could change with the rural lifestyle land use designation change, that hurts. And I think everybody here, raise your hand in the back
if you guys are opposed to the rural lifestyle
Ma'am, you're
change.
to be addressing, ma'am, you're to be addressing the board. Thank you.
My apologies, but I just wanted the visual. People here really care. And, you know, something else that I heard today that I wanted to reflect again is the gentleman that came and spoke and said, you know, it's 2022. We need to acknowledge change. But to me, that's really present moment thinking. You know, yes, it's 2022 now, but the people back in 1982, they were thinking for the future, not the present, when the comp plan was erected and made. They were thinking towards the future, not the present. And we can't say in 2022, oh, we're thinking for 2052 when we're not going to have anything left to enjoy in 2052, except for concrete sidewalks. And a third thing that I wanted to point out with respect to the influx of people that'll be coming here with more and more development, I mean, I see on this plan today that the commissioners are supposed to be voting on increasing their ocean rescue teams. I think it's, what, 4 more positions are being considered? I mean, right now in Jensen Beach, I'm pretty sure the ratio of guards to patrons is about 1 to 1,000. I don't know if you guys have been to Jensen Beach lately and have seen how crowded it is, but bringing more people without adding more guards, I think it's important that we protect their safety. So I'm not sure if there's much else I have to say, but I really hope that you all take some time to really listen to the constituency that is taking the time out of their day to be here. Thanks.
Yeah. Ms. Berry, followed by Sally O'Connell. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman Douglas and Commissioners. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm coming here from Wellington, Palm Beach County, and I have a message that you have a dream lifestyle, that Martin County is a true rural lifestyle right now. It has wildlife, it has conservation, and I felt compelled to come here because I have good friends in the Sierra Club and 1,000 Friends of Florida, and I'm a member of those organizations. I deeply admire Maggie Hurlitz-Sed's work that she did for so many years. Her life work really was the comprehensive plan, and it didn't happen in a day. Building that infrastructure is like building Rome. It's not built in a day. And we should leave it as it is. We should work with that and perhaps readjust, reimagine, rethink, yes, but keep the conservation mentality behind it. And so you have a dream, but the dream has challenges. Recently you were in national news, Indian River Lagoon. Your manatees, our manatees, the iconic Florida mammal, which all the children love to see. And I think you want to have your children, your grandchildren be able to see them, take them to see those animals. Now they're being fed tens of thousands of tons of lettuce every day because they can't survive the winter. They're so weak. And the conservationists were surprised at how weak they were. They didn't know that we only have a couple hundred manatees left. And so they're a very endangered species, and we need to protect them. Why are they in trouble? The seagrasses are dying in Indian River Lagoon, among other places. They're dying from the runoff, from the fertilizer, the septic tanks, what have you. It's all detrimental, and it's coming from overdevelopment. So we need to think about that. I think we all need to think about that and think about how we can adjust and have more conservation and more sustainable. Developers love to say they're sustainable. However, they're taking on the environmentalist terminology, and it's doublespeak. So let's keep the infrastructure. Vote yes to keep it. Vote no against this amendment so we can be co-equal partners.
Thank you, ma'am. Sally O'Connell,
Let me just finish this sentence.
followed by Donna Melzer.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Sally O'Connell. I have submitted my written comments regarding the Rural Lifestyle Amendment. Please include them as part of the April 19th public record for agenda items PH1, PH2, and PHQJ2. As candidates, all of you promised to follow and protect the Martin County Comprehensive Plan and the Urban Service District. Decades of South Florida development have shown how costly urban sprawl is. But the Becker Discovery Project is classic urban sprawl. It quadruples the allowable density and it destroys the urban service boundary without any demonstration of need. We know it's not site-specific. It won't just apply to the Becker Discovery Acres. But we have no idea how many other acres in rural Martin County it could apply to. The Guardians want it to be confined to 14,000 rural acres. Your staff says 64,000. I honestly don't know the basis for either number. The potential acreage numbers keep changing with no analysis of the impact. We have no idea what the actual density will be since golf cottages and employee dormitories are not calculated. Off-site open space is being allowed for the rural lifestyle land use, yet it is not allowed in any other land use in Martin County. The Guardians want water quality monitoring, but there's no funding source, so who will pay? My guess is taxpayers. Nothing new about that. Having seen how ineffective the easements in Palm Beach County's ag resort area have been, there is little likelihood that they will succeed in Martin County. So this amendment potentially jeopardizes the viability of Martin County agriculture. It will also make the cost of purchasing conservation lands prohibitively expensive. The public is not fooled into believing that this development is self-sustaining or self-contained. Self-contained, self-sustaining development does not exist. This development will need, and in fact, they will demand, fire service, police protection, emergency services, and road improvements that will be borne by Martin County taxpayers. State Statute Section 163 requires that comprehensive plan amendments define at least the minimum densities and intensities allowed for all land uses, and requires that the plan establish meaningful standards for the use and development of land. Apparently, the DOE no longer enforces state law. Please uphold our comp plan and the urban service district boundary. Vote against the rural lifestyle amendment.
Donna Melzer, followed by John Gonzalez.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Donna Melzer, speaking on behalf of Martin County Conservation Alliance and myself individually in opposition to Comp Plan Amendment 2108, Rural Lifestyle, because, as Maggie said, it wrecks the urban boundary, wrecks our Martin County difference. Maggie wrote papers that prove she'd oppose every version of the amendment. I've submitted some of those. Changes versus shredding. And 1,000 Friends recently said, and we're sorry they couldn't be here today, even limited development outside the urban service district could further threaten the future in Martin County of financially viable agriculture that supports nearly a quarter of the county's jobs and buffers the local economy from downturns that we've experienced in the past. 1,000 Friends also reminded us that these impacts include fragmenting wildlife habitats, degrading ground and surface waters with nutrient pollutions, adding fuel for algal blooms. Oh, have we heard of that one before? And making it prohibitive to buy lands that we need for our various SERP projects, our Loxalucy projects, and things like that. The April 12th language piles on the wrecking. Language, once again, allows developers to look out of county for urban connections despite the commission majority knowing that Ag Tech was approved using the Port St. Lucie urban boundary and urban services for the failed King Ranch promise of high-paying biotech jobs. Don't do that kind of thing again. Palm City has a lot of impacts coming from the already approved new fields, and adding over 100,000 houses out west will not do us any good. And the process stinks. With more than quadrupled urban sprawl, whether on 100,000 acres or 158,000 acres, more than quadrupling the traffic, especially at the fringes, upping school demands and taxes, delaying emergency response times, and rushed through without serious interactive workshops. Perhaps this commission majority doesn't want concerned citizens to know what they are up to. If you do, then please say no today, have lots of workshops, and see if you can convince us that what you say is true. The cost is too high for an approval today, at least for residents, taxpayers, drivers, children, folks needing emergency services. Oh, who benefits? I have to ask the commissioners that want to approve it. Who benefits? South Florida history is frightening and certain, and we do not need rural lifestyle. Thank you.
Juan Gonzalez, followed by Bridget Kiriak. Ms. Gonzalez, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Commissioners. I'm not as prepared as I'd like to be, and I'm more nervous than usual because I don't know, I heard someone threaten in the hallway that was opposed to this, or for it actually, which I'm here to say I'm for this amendment. I've lived in Florida probably longer than, well, my family's lived in Florida for over 250 years. We were farmers originally. My father was a developer, my grandfather was a developer. I think about farmland, we talk about that. If you live in Jensen Beach, Stewart, Hobe Sound, Palm City, you're living on farmland. That was someone's farm 100 years ago. You know, the Kruger Creek, it was named after one of the great pineapple farmers. This was all farmland. It's time to open up. 20-acre ranchettes, which this developer or this farmer could divide all his property up into 20-acre ranchettes. Everyone with a berm, everyone divided, no comprehensive drainage program. That's not better for Martin County. Let this family, let these people do what they're doing because it's the right thing to do. We'll end up with, Martin County, we will end up with 70% more open land. We'll open better drainage into the Loxahatchee, et cetera. This is a better plan than what the developers could do, what the landowner could do. My family's owned farms. We've sold them off over the years to pay our bills, to just survive. You know, it's time. This is a great plan. I like what it does. I like the whole thing. Like I said, I came up here, I'm nervous, and you know me, I'm not normally nervous about anything. I did write some notes, but I didn't get to my notes. Please pass this bill. I think this amendment. The comp plan was always intended, and was always intended to be a living document, not cut in stone. And I know there's people that disagree with me. You can't write it. The Constitution's a living document. The Bill of Rights are living documents. So is the Martin County Comprehensive Plan. You know, I appreciate everything you guys have done. I don't know how you guys sit up here. I mean, I heard people accuse you of stuff today, and you know, I know you guys are all just doing your best to do the right thing for the citizens of Martin County, and I appreciate all the work that you've done and to get us into this great community that we live in. And I thank you for listening to me. Now, like some other people, and a lot of my friends, the people that I hang out with, I have to go back to work. I still work for a living. I have to go back to work. It's hard to sit here during one of these commission meetings, and I know a lot of my friends feel the same way. Thank you.
Thank you. Bridget Kiriak, followed by David Cross.
Good morning. My name is Bridget Kerouac. I'm a resident of Hobe Sound. my husband and I chose Hobe Sound because of its rural character. This is the third legislative public hearing that I have attended on these comprehensive plan amendments. The overwhelming majority of people who have spoken at these meetings have opposed these amendments, these sweeping, irresponsible, poorly worded amendments that will entirely change the character of the community that we live in. Why is the majority of this commission refusing to listen to the people that they represent, who voted them into office to represent our interests? Why do you think you know better? We're telling you we don't want this. We do not want this in our county. We know what will happen. We've seen it before. Why are you insisting on ignoring the citizens who put you in office in order to placate a bunch of developers who want to convert our western agricultural lands to sprawl? Gentlemen, and I address the gentlemen because the ladies on the commission have voted in opposition to passage of these amendments. Houses are the final crop. I hope you enjoy your dinner. In addition, I want to say, while I'm up here, I oppose extension of the ad valorem tax, and I oppose any new sales tax. You squander our tax money, and then you ask us to pay more. What planet do you come from? Honest to God, what planet do you come from? You're spending our money, not yours, ours. Listen to what we have to say.
Thank you, ma'am. David Cross. Following Mr. Cross is David Tassel. I'm sorry? Tassel. Mr. Cross, good morning. Good morning. After Mr. Tassel, we will take our 10:30 break for closed captioning, and then we'll resume public comment. Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, my name is Dave Cross. I'm a resident of Martin County, and I'm here to speak against the adoption of the Rural Lifestyle Amendment. In the early 2000s, Martin County had close to 50,000 acres of orange groves. Then we had citrus canker, we had a couple bad hurricanes, and citrus greening. Now Martin County has 0 acres of orange groves. But the land is still there. Some of it's been converted to other crops, some of it's been repurposed for water farming, and some of it is just a wasting business asset for the owners. The most profitable use of this land would be to convert it into residential lots. But there's a problem. The land sits outside the urban services district, so municipal water and sewer are unavailable. Also, it's zoned agricultural, which restricts development to no more than 1 dwelling per 20 acres. Enter the Rural Lifestyle Amendment, which creates a path to increased density residential development and allows hookup to municipal water and sewer. Here's the sales pitch. The county gets increased ratables, and the development will preserve a lot of open space. The on-site area will be at least 70% open space, clear from ground to sky. In addition, for every 2 acres on-site, there has to be at least 1 acre of open space that must be preserved off-site in perpetuity. I have a little skepticism about that phrase. One idiosyncratic feature of this amendment is that the off-site open space requirement can be met by certain for-profit businesses, lands in agricultural production and water farms. An agricultural entrepreneur who is stuck with a couple thousand of acres of currently unproductive land because orange groves failed can convert just a third of that land to a profitable crop, put it in an easement so he can continue to farm it, but not convert it to another use, and then sell the other two-thirds as residential lots. That is one sweet bailout. I'm not saying that that is what happened in this particular case, but if this amendment goes through, it will create a huge development incentive for agricultural land owners. Going back to the 70% open space requirement, this land use amendment will steer a lot of future development into golf course communities. I think that's a terrible idea. I just want to say, to me, golf looks like a dying sport. In the last dozen years, Americans are only playing about 80% of the...
Your time's up, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Tossel, please. And after Mr. Tossel, we'll take our 10-minute break.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is David Tassel. I'm a real estate attorney with offices in Jupiter and Stuart, Florida. I appreciate the opportunity to speak today on behalf of the Discovery Land Project. I am in favor of your approval of the comp plan amendment as well as the site plan of Discovery Land. I can tell you from personal experience, I've been at Discovery Land projects for the last 5 years in Whitefish, Montana, as well as their project in the Bahamas. Discovery develops their land in an incredibly environmentally sensible way. In fact, the project in Montana, there's deer, there's bear I see every time I go there. I'm sure they will do the same thing. I've reviewed the Atlantic Field site plan. They will do the same thing here. This project will provide phenomenal revenue to Martin County with minimal negative impact to the community. And Discovery Land is going to remain in management of this project. They do a great job managing their properties. It's going to be an asset to Martin County for many, many years. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we will take our 10-minute break for closed captioning, and we will return with the remainder of our public comment. Okay, we are back. Our next speaker up, if you could all please take your seat, will be Ann Scott, followed by John Del Prete.
Ready? We're getting started.
Ms. Scott, good morning.
Good morning. Are you ready for me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good morning. My name is Ann Scott. Not today, commissioners. Not today. My late friend, John Sullivan, the developer of Loblolly, used to say that there was $1 billion to be made developing western Martin County. Turns out that was an understatement. The folks at Discovery and the heirs of Becker Tree Farms are fixing to make $1 billion on a fraction of that. What is going on? I don't know, but it's got to be something. Why would the county administrator pack along her deputy and other minions to attend a meeting on Jupiter Island? Why would she sit with the developer and whisper in his ear and laugh? I don't know. But I know this. You will vote today. We will vote in August. And again in August of 2024. Our dander is up. Our memories are long. And we have plenty of time to investigate and organize. And we will. Not today, commissioners.
Thank you. John Del Prete. Following Mr. Del Prete is Sam Hay. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Johnny Del Prete, and I was born and raised in Martin County. My family has resided in Martin County since the early 1980s. In regards to this criteria today, I have been fortunate enough to visit a few discovery properties around the country, and their platform is highly remarkable. I care about the future of our community here in Martin County, but I do not see 0% growth as a viable option going forward. We need to think about how we can preserve our land and still increase tax revenue. The Discovery Project and the Comprehensive Plan Amendment will accomplish both these goals. Discovery will be a great neighbor of our community for decades to come, and the preservation of the off-site land is a win-win for all. Thank you for your time.
Sir. Mr. Hay, followed by Regina Wood.
Yeah, my name's Sam Hay. I live in Rocky Point. I've come here today to urge you to reject the proposed land use designation misleadingly named rural lifestyle. If approved, rural lifestyle would so undermine the county's comprehensive plan as to render it practically useless. Since it was adopted in 1982, the comp plan is served to protect us from the overdevelopment which has despoiled so much of South Florida. It has also helped us prevent excessive land speculation. If we lose the comp plan, property values in the parts of the county now designated agricultural will likely skyrocket, and only the very rich will be able to afford land. The inevitable result would be rampant development, increased traffic congestion, environmental degradation, increased crime, urban sprawl, and a broad decline in our quality of life. I don't know who stands to benefit from this change other than the developers who would reap a handsome profit at the expense of the rest of us. As written, the Rural Lifestyle Amendment provides for self-supporting, self-contained and rural communities, but there's no provision for schools, fire protection, law enforcement, or health care, all of which somebody has to pay for, and inevitably this burden would fall upon us taxpayers. Some supporters of rural lifestyle have suggested that the $1 million homes in the proposed development would generate such handsome tax values as to enhance our county's finances, but this seems highly unlikely. This claim, like the claim that Cutting taxes on the super rich would result in business investment and job creation has repeatedly been proven false. But politicians continue to trot out these discredited claims to justify policies which benefit the rich at the expense of everyone else. The unseemly rush to approve rural lifestyle has not escaped notice, and one can only suppose that this is so the measure can be passed before the public is fully informed of the potential consequences. I feel certain that if this measure were to be put to the public in a referendum, it would be rejected in a landslide vote. In recent years, the current county commissioner has gradually chipped away at the protections provided by our comprehensive plan, and you only have to look around you to see the broad swaths of forest cleared, seemingly overnight, for new developments. In the past 5 years or so, traffic on our streets and roads has become increasingly snarled with congestion, and the various ills which accompany such changes have also increased. In the past month, we've even had reports of carjackings on our streets in broad daylight. Please protect our comp plan, reject rural lifestyle, and preserve what we have left of the charm and rural character of Martin County. None of us wants to see our home turned into another charmless, soulless urban waste like so much of what we see in the counties to our north and south.
Gina Wood, followed by Diane Meyer. Good morning.
Good morning. Is it still morning? Okay. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Regina Wood. I'm a longtime resident of Martin County, and I've lived in Palm City for 30 years. I'm one of those people that can be here on a work day because I spent 30 years working for nonprofits in Martin County and was able to retire from that. So I don't think our opinion should be discounted because we're not working at this current time. Anyway, one of the biggest questions that has not been adequately answered regarding the proposed rural lifestyle designation comp plan change is how it will affect the future growth of Western Martin County. I know there's been a lot of talk about the amendment, there's been a lot of talk about the development, but not as much about that. The people of Martin County deserve a much better assessment and analysis of the impact this major change to our comp plan could have on over 150,000 acres of agricultural land. For example, will allowing rural lifestyle development to hook up to water and I believe sewer set a precedent that other developers outside the rural lifestyle will demand? That seems like a fast track to urban sprawl. When asked at a meeting how many developments they anticipate will qualify for this designation, the county's answer was probably not many. Again, I think we need more thoughtful information. The majority of people in Martin County want responsible growth, and we support our award-winning comp plan to help us get it. Please vote no for the CPA 2108 and the 2109. And I just want to say I've lived in Martin County for over 40 years. This community, people love this community. It is, and they really care about it. And we care about whether we're going to be here or not. A lot of us may not be here 20, 30 years from now, but we care about how it's going to be in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Diane Meyer, followed by Charles Rayside. Charles Rayside next.
Hello, Commissioners. I'm Diane Meyer in the rural area, and I want to respectfully ask a question, an unusual question of the Commissioners. So how many gallons of influent of sewage are generated each year in Martin County? Well, let me share. The Martin County Utilities and Solid Waste Department reports 1,097,000,000 gallons of wastewater treatment annually, and that's before any additional permitting that this commission has been approving. When do we reach our capacity? What's our new assessment going to be? For a new facility, what's it going to cost us? The projection of 2.0 to 2.4 inflation factor is a little off. There are key and critical infrastructure items that need to be addressed, such as when will our Palm City landfill reach capacity? How long before our Florida aquifer and water supply is strained? Already, there's lawn restrictions of only watering two times a week. Traffic patterns, how many lights need one wait before traffic moves again? And when it does, are speed limits enforced? Selling these $3 to $5 million lots, what will those new elite homeowners want? New schools, new hospitals, closer shopping, closer gas stations, new fire stations. These major aspects need to be completely understood before any rezoning or building permits are approved. We only have one code enforcement officer. How many commissioners do we have? Should we have code enforcement officers for each district? A developer takes out a tree, what happens? He's told for that 100-year-old tree, replace another tree. If he doesn't, he gets a letter and then maybe a small fine. If an interloper in that Palmar Hungryland sets up a new street, puts in structures, target practicing, what happens? They get a letter. We have no teeth in our code enforcement. I am proposing that a moratorium be enacted similar to the December 4th, 2019 Hillsborough County moratorium on rural area zoning changes and building permits until these infrastructure issues are completely understood and addressed and shared with the public at town hall meetings. I pray that you have ears to hear.
Charles Rayside, followed by Amy Pritchett.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Charles Rayside, resident of Martin County. I'm also president of the Palm City Farms Trail Association. That association is about green space, it's about outdoor activities, it's about a lifestyle of living in the woods. And I just wanted to make a few random comments, I guess, about this proposed amendment. We are for it. Yes, growth needs to be controlled. This is controlled growth, in my opinion. They put a lot of effort into not urban sprawl. Sprawl is a few hundred acres with 600 homes on it, and they're stacked wall to wall. With 70% set aside open space, set aside other lands, a density that we're complaining about of reaching 1 in 5 acres. I live in 1 in 5 acres in Palm City Farms, and we live in the woods. We see deer, we see hogs, we see coyotes every day. And it's not urban sprawl. It's not this overgrown thing we're talking about. We hear comments here. I've been here 20 years. I've been here 30 years. My family was born here in the 1800s. If you live on Hutchison Island today, you're living in a condo built on my grandfather's pineapple plantation. So farmland has been for hundreds of years developed into communities. Farmers generate out. It's not necessarily negative things when this green space. Farm fields are not the ultimate environmental perfect field. So when they become environmentally controlled communities, it's a better thing. They go to dirt twice a year. There's not tons of, it's not a natural ecosystem of pineland prairies and swamplands and an ecosystem that's the natural Florida. It's the kind of thing that gets rebuilt there, or it's the kind of thing that gets preserved in these open spaces. This concept I hear of, no growth, as I said, if you're living on farmland, if you live in Stewart, you live in Jensen Beach, the concept that our fathers built a development to build you a home and you're here and now nobody else should come is just kind of closed-minded. Without growth, there either has a county that's growing or we have a county that's dead. And so proper growth, yes, but no growth, that's death. The taxes, counties are constantly more expensive to maintain, and we're either going to pay them as the individual residents at a higher rate, or we're going to have controlled proper growth. And I appreciate you supporting it. Thank you.
Amy Pritchett, followed by Barbara Birdsey.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'd like to ask a few questions regarding the rural lifestyle proposed change to the comprehensive plan. How will this change benefit the residents of Martin County? As we've been told, only millionaires and above will be able to afford this type of property. So I ask you, will you limit who can buy these properties? Bill Gates, BlackRock, and China are some of the largest landowners in this country. So are we going to limit that, and will we be limiting foreign nationals from also purchasing? Will this change raise our taxes? Will it lower our taxes? Will it mitigate the 25% increase in our waste management services? Will we pay less when residents are forced to change from septic to sewer? Will the recipients of this rural lifestyle zoning have to ration their water to twice a week when they're sprinkling their lawns? And will they have to be septic to sewer? If the county commission supports this, why aren't they out there talking to the citizens? Why has the commission made the guardians their ambassadors? And now I come to find out they too oppose the current plan change. I do respectfully request the answer to these questions, and I also recommend to read the book A Land Remembered by Patrick Smith. Thank you.
Barbara Birdsey, followed by, Tom Pine. Ms. Birdsey, before you start, you have 2 speaker forms here.
Yes, I do. Do you want me to do them at the same time?
Well, you only get one, so
Do I come back for the other one then?
you're speaking for Chuck Barraclaw? We don't allow that, ma'am.
You don't, pardon?
We don't allow that.
Okay. Okay, so I'll do mine and not his. Is that okay?
Thank you.
I'm Barbara Birdsey. I live in Hope Sound in Martin County. My background before moving to Martin County was mainly in habitat and wildlife protection. It is still my primary interest, and I love living in a place that still resembles what Florida once was. About 3 years ago, I am on the local boards of directors for both the Treasured Lands Foundation and the Guardians of Martin County. About 3 years ago, the Treasured Lands Foundation put forward the idea that we should act to preserve a green corridor into Hobe Sound, to be named in honor of Nat Reed, that would extend the existing corridor from Jupiter Island all the way through Hobe Sound out to I-95. That idea turned into something much bigger, and it soon became the Loxalucy Headwaters Initiative, formed by a 3-party coalition of the Conservation Fund, the Treasured Lands Foundation, and the Guardians of Martin County. We have greatly expanded our initial vision to take into consideration the entire Atlantic Ridge ecosystem and now beyond. Plus, we have taken a hard look at what is happening to wildlife in our county, especially at a time when the state is encouraging the creation of an eastern wildlife corridor to eventually join the existing one on the west side. This is critical. There's funding for this. We are in the middle of losing it if we don't act. And we need to take that into serious consideration now. About a year ago, we came before this very board to seek support for the Loxalucy Headwaters Initiative. It was given unanimously, and we were endorsed, and funds were promised to help us buy important habitat. That didn't happen, so forgive me for being confused. We waited, and sure enough, what we got instead was the Rural Lifestyle Amendment, which was only meant to pertain to the Becker property. But alas, here it is being proposed for most of our rural lands. Just one comment. When I fly over Martin County, it stands out like a blue and green jewel. Please keep it that way for those who follow us. It's time to stop, listen, and reassess.
Mr. Pine.
Vote no.
Followed by Steve Cross. Fine, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Excuse me. Good morning, Commissioners. My name's Tom Pine. I've lived in Jensen Beach for nearly 50 years. We, the taxpayers of Martin County, have assembled here today to witness what appears to be the total destruction of Martin County as we know it, led by the two big spenders on our commission, where big money spent supersedes everything else. This will be the second time I'm witnessing how big money is all that matters to most of the leaders in Martin County. The first time was the illegal expansion of runway 1230 at Martin County Airport. The airport director, a county employee, showed photos at the county commission meeting that were decades old of nothing but woods west of the airport. In reality, there were over 30 homes in there. I was one of them. That lie led to the commissioners was enough to get approved to extend runway 1230 and poison my neighborhood with jet fumes. The same special interest that supported that scheme also support this scheme being presented here today. Why? Because big money wanted it, and life is cheap to people with big money. 3 of my neighbors died because of that illegal expansion. Just like some of our county commissioners, some of our senior staffs seem to have forgotten who they work for. They don't work for the commissioners, they don't work for the developers. They're supposed to be working for we, the taxpayers of Martin County, the ones that pay your outrageous salaries and benefits. If you're getting tired of working for taxpayers, maybe it's time for you to shuffle off. The overwhelming majority of Martin County taxpayers oppose this latest scheme to circumvent our Martin County Growth Management Plan. I say put it on the August primary ballot. Let we, the taxpayers of Martin County, make this life-changing decision, not the special interest in the big money boys. I feel senior staff at the Comprehensive Planning Administration, the Growth Management, Deputy Management Director, the Assistant Attorney, all violated public trust by pushing this scheme to replace the present County Growth Management Plan that's been in Martin County support by the taxpayers since the early 1980s, which calls for controlled growth, not no growth as some of the speakers have suggested. You think food inflation is high now? Just wait until Martin County and Palm Beach County allow all their agricultural land to be sold off for development. Development has never paid for itself, and it won't this time either. Just another scam on the taxpayers to bend the will of the big oil, big money. Greedy, greedy, greedy. Most of the people who spoke in favor...
Your time's up, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Cross, Steve Cross.
Your time's up.
Followed by A.J. DeFlippius. Mr. Cross, good morning.
Morning. Chairman Smith and fellow members of the board. My name is Steve Cross. I'm a contractor. I do a lot of work in Martin County and have for several years. And I'm here in support of the Rural Lifestyle Comprehensive Plan amendments. I hear a lot of people today in this meeting in the comments say, well, I came here in, and I came here in, I've been here for this many years. And it just made me wonder, well, who's the last one allowed in? You know, when does the door officially close? And I hear people referencing the comprehensive plan that was adopted, I guess, in 1982, 40 years ago. And I think, well, the entire county's changed a lot since then. And I know for a fact the agricultural land and business has as well. And I believe these amendments give the county a creative way of solving the problems that everyone's been bringing up today. They will create jobs, they will preserve agricultural land, they will limit as much as possible and concentrate the development, and you have a lot of say in how it happens as opposed to following a 40-year-old document without any consideration for the conditions of today. I also grew up in Florida, so I join everyone else with that comment. I've been here almost my entire life, and I can honestly say that I've seen all the development that people are talking about, and I think this approach is a new one, and it won't won't provide or result in what everyone says they fear. So I urge you to approve these amendments, and I am in favor of this new idea that the rural lifestyle amendments represent. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. AJ DeFilippis? AJ? I'll come back if you're out in the audience and you can't hear out there. Annie Potts. And following Annie is Charles Armstrong. Morning, Annie.
Still. Good to see you all. Good to be standing up here. Can you hear me okay? Okay. I urge you, along with so many other people, to vote against passing these plan amendments now. I think what I'm hearing, what I'm feeling, I've lived here for 40 years, there's so much detail that's not included in what would need to be to protect all the members of the community as well as even the piece of property at Atlantic Fields. I'm in a unique position in that I've worked with a lot of people who've done environmental impact statements. And I've seen what's the theory of what has been proposed and the reality of what shows up 10 years later. I've seen the response of the people who've been negatively impacted by some of those developments. And that's one of the reasons why I really think it's really important that you actually do your homework to know that you are protecting not only the property that you're approving, but also all the people that would be impacted outside that property, because it can have a major effect. All you have to do is think about places like Cape Cod, Massachusetts, where cyanobacteria is in the ponds and lakes up there. It's going to show up in the lakes that are created here or the rivers that are already here. You have to have baseline information in order to know what you've got and then how it's being affected, whether maybe it's positive. Unlikely, and if it's negative, how negative is it and who is it impacting? We're lucky that here in Martin County, well, up in actually St. Lucie County, ORCA for years has been studying the Indian River Lagoon and has real-time data, which goes back a long time, information that could help all of us understand exactly, put a face to what it is you're trying to create here. I truly believe that you need to go back to the drawing board on this because there's just not enough information for you to begin doing what you're trying to do if you're going to be environmentally sensitive. I understand you can't close the door on growth. I truly believe I've lived here on a piece of property on the South Fork or in Palm City Bay for 35 years. I used to have turkeys across the harbor from me, and now I've got houses. But it just requires, as time goes on, it requires a lot more thorough research. Thank you.
Thank you, Annie. Harold Armstrong. Following Mr. Armstrong is Sybil Dance.
Good morning. As a sixth-generation rancher who grew up on my family's ranches and farms in Martin County, I've experienced firsthand the tremendous challenges inherent in agriculture. The idea of residential development places huge additional pressures on farmers and ranchers. The proposed rural lifestyle land use offers landowners the potential to preserve property, preventing mass development. Preserving this county's land and its heritage is important to all of us. Discovery Land Company and the Becker families are two groups committed to the preservation of the land while helping limit the growth that is inevitable. Thank you.
Sir. Ms. Dance. Followed by Barbara Seaton. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Sybil Dance. I'm a member and previous board member of the Palm City Farms Trail Association. I am also a residential real estate appraiser, having lived and worked in Martin County for 36 years. As an avid trail rider, I feel the developer's offer to open an additional entrance to Atlantic Ridge State Park is very desirable to the many folks in Martin County who enjoy the great outdoors. Currently, the access to the park is along a narrow road through a residential area The homeowners there have been complaining for many years about vehicles going through their neighborhood to access the parking area. The developers of Atlantic Fields offer a very nice barn, meeting area, and lots of parking, would not only give us improved access to the park, but to the southern end of the park. It can take an hour or more of riding or hiking to get to that area from the current entrance. This additional entrance would benefit not just horseback riders, but hikers, mountain bikers, birders, and anyone who enjoys Atlantic Ridge State Park. I only request this be donated to the park when the development is approved, not when it's complete. Speaking as a real estate appraiser, this type of development and zoning is much more desirable than the dozens of properties being developed all over Martin County. Everywhere you drive around the county, properties are being torn up to cram in as many units as possible, leaving only a tiny amount of open space. This zoning change would leave at least 70% open space. It makes more sense to me to have residential areas concentrated with large open spaces outside the built-up residential areas. Not only is it more attractive, but it allows wildlife to roam. The taxes received from this high-end community would greatly benefit Martin County. I hope the money would be used to purchase more land for preservation to further enhance the beauty of Martin County. Thank you for your time.
Barbara Seaton, followed by Terry Gibson. Good morning.
Morning, Commissioners. Thank you for listening to all of us. Thank you for your patience. I'm all for rural lifestyle. I grew up in Florida also, like so many other people. Probably spent more years here than a lot of them did because I'm so old. But anyhow, and I'm not averse to change. I grew up before air conditioning. I think air conditioning's a pretty good thing. I grew up before mosquito abatement. That's had its pluses and minuses, basically a good thing. And anyway, so I actually grew up in a rural lifestyle, as other people have mentioned. Florida was really a rural state when I was growing up. And it was wonderful. I was able to romp through wetlands and go romp in woods and swim in the waters, fish without worrying about whether the fish was going to be infected, be able to eat that fish. And it was a great, great time. Well, so I'm for the rural lifestyle, but what concerns me is that this amendment has been titled rural lifestyle. I don't see the connection. It's somehow a euphemism for what is not. A rural lifestyle is not a golf course requiring lots of irrigation, a manicured golf course with lots of fertilization, and non-native plants and manicured lawns and so forth. By the way, if we're talking about residential needs in Martin County, we probably have more needs for affordable housing than this kind of housing we're talking about, but that's another story. I don't think open spaces really are a big golf course that most people are not allowed to walk on while the golfers are there. It's not about watching other little balls being hit by mallets on polo grounds. It's open space is a natural open space. So my experience, I had appreciating change. I got to go to the University of Florida shortly after they admitted women. Yay! So I appreciated that change. And when I was there in Gainesville, anyhow, you all know what happened to Gainesville. I left the state ultimately because I was so devastated with what had happened in our state. Thought I'd never come back and stayed away for 40 years. But came back to Martin.
Terry Gibson, followed by Youth Samples. Mr. Gibson? Terry Gibson? Come back. Eve Samples. Followed by Robert Hartzell.
Good morning, Commissioners and staff. I'm Eve Samples, Executive Director at Friends of the Everglades. We were founded by Marjorie Stoneman Douglas in 1969, and we're now headquartered in Martin County. Our organization, which is dedicated to protecting the Everglades and its connected waterways, including the St. Lucie River, stands with our allies at 1,000 Friends of Florida in opposing the proposed Rural Lifestyles Amendment to Martin County's comp plan. We thank Commissioners Sarah Hurd and Stacey Hetherington for voting against this concerning amendment during its first public hearing in February, and we respectfully implore all commissioners to do the same today, including in its amended form. If approved, this amendment would pose serious long-term threats to our community that go well beyond the Discovery Land Company proposal to build on 1,500 acres. The new rural lifestyles land use would undermine the very philosophy that Martin County's comprehensive plan is based on, a philosophy that has made this community different, more environmentally protective than its counterparts to the north and south, and has served us well for the better part of 4 decades. That philosophy boils down to this: development should occur within the urban services district until the district approaches its capacity for additional development. Then, and only then, should the district be expanded. We have not reached capacity within the urban services district in Martin County. So where's the justification for this major amendment to Martin County's comprehensive plan? What's the demonstrated need? Yes, the owners of these lands stand to make a profit by changing their land use to allow denser development, but that does not mean you're obligated to approve it. Landowners have no guaranteed right under state law to intensify their land use, particularly not when it undermines the approved development rules in a county. We agree with 1,000 Friends of Florida that the Rural Lifestyles Amendment poses these 4 threats. It would quadruple density on thousands of acres of agricultural lands in Martin County. Number 2, it would allow for more massive increases in development without economic analysis of cost to taxpayers. 3, it would undercut decades of sound planning to protect Martin County's rural lands. 4, it could leave the county vulnerable to a legal challenge because both a specific development and a major county land use change are being considered simultaneously. Martin County has avoided the fate of South Florida because of its comp plan, which prioritizes the environment and quality of life by maintaining responsible limits on development and directing it within the urban services district. The new rural lifestyles land use designation to allow suburban-style resort development outside of the USD would violate that core tenet. Friends of the Everglades moved to Stewart in 2019, in part because of the legacy of environmental protection here in Martin County. Please uphold those environmental protections by rejecting this proposed amendment today. Thank you.
Ms. Samples. Robert Hartzell, please. Following Mr. Hartzell is, Charles Bender. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Robert Hartzell on behalf of 1,000 Friends of Florida. We've been advocating for the environmentally and fiscally responsible development in Martin County and throughout Florida since our founder, Nathaniel Reed, in 1986. We appreciate the opportunity to address you once again on this critical decision you're facing for Martin County's environment, economy, and quality of life. The Comprehensive Plan Amendment now before you for adoption would create a historic exemption to the plan's core principle of keeping residential development within the urban service district. The Rural Lifestyles Amendment would apply to property now zoned to 1 unit per 20 acres. Altogether, more than 132,000 acres, more than 200 square miles. Rural Lifestyles would pave the way for massive increases in low-density, automobile-dependent, sprawling development without any economic analysis of the cost to taxpayers for the new roads and other infrastructure, the loss of revenue from productive agricultural lands, or impacts on the county's water supply from the paving over of natural lands. It would undermine decades, and I say decades because I've been participating since the early workshops 20 years ago, of sound planning to keep Martin County's rural lands rural. It could make land purchase for conservation prohibitively expensive. The bottom line is this: if the amendment is adopted, it has the potential to permanently change the face of Martin County. When agriculture and natural lands are converted to development, they are gone for good. All the benefits from them for the water supply, wildlife, recreation, and quality of life are lost forever. We're aware that there's been negotiations to reduce the scope of the amendment. While we'd prefer to see the impact of the amendment reduced, if it won't be eliminated, that should take place in a transparent process, open to the public. And if there's to be a scale-back proposal presented today, we should believe that it's essential to give the public adequate time to fully consider it. Commissioners, you are stewards of Martin County's future. Leadership from you and your predecessors has made this county a model for planning and conservation throughout Florida. Please don't jeopardize that legacy by approving this comp plan amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Charles Bender. Mr. Bender. Following Mr. Bender is Darlene Van Riper.
Good morning, Commissioners. Great to see you all. Thank you for your support over the years of Place of Hope. And I'm in support of this. I think, somebody said it's, development is, some of it's got to come at some point. The density here seems to work. But I'm going to speak from a different perspective. I've gone through about 5 of these proceedings myself. With our team, I've given my entire adulthood life to caring for abused children and homeless families and human trafficking survivors, and many of you support us in that. Had we not found some degree of victory during those rezonings and those land use hearings, the 20,000, almost 30,000 people that we've served over the last 20 years wouldn't have had us, and we wouldn't have had Place of Hope in our location. So, this is a group who has stepped up. They have a philanthropic side to them that has been tremendous. In fact, if you don't know, we're taking over the Samaritan's Home for Boys campus after 60 years of mission work in this community. Had they not supported us in this past year, myself and my board wouldn't have been able to look at that proposal from Samaritan's Home and say, after 60 years, it's going to shut down or somebody's got to take it. They chose us. But because we had the backing of this group and others last year, we could take a look at it from a holistic perspective and just simply say, you know what, we're going to go for it. We're going to make it happen. So they have this philanthropic side to them that's great and necessary, and it is a component of this right now. I know this is a very unpopular thing that you're having to deal with today, and I wouldn't want to be you, but I just thought you should hear from a completely different perspective of the character of this group, this family, the Becker family, and what they're all about and how they care for this portion of our society in Martin County as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Ms. Van Riper, followed by Drew Martin.
Good morning, Commissioners. I think it's still morning anyway. Darlene Van Riper. I'm a Hobe Sound resident. Today, I am representing the Martin County Taxpayers Association, your 72-year-old taxpayer watchdog organization. The Martin County Taxpayers Association is wholly and completely in favor of this project. However, we do feel that the amendment should be more transparent, so we're not in favor of the amendment. But I want to just tell you about this project and why we are in favor of it. This project is going to bring millions of tax dollars to this county. And keep in mind that the Board of County Commissioners is possibly asking for a 1-cent sales tax increase. The school board of Martin County wants us to retain their 0.5% of ad valorem taxes. So we have some real needs. Last year alone, 200,000 people moved to Florida. So we actually see this project as a protection for Hobe Sound. It is inevitable that sooner or later, these county commissioners, and by the way, I know all these county commissioners on some level or another, and I can assure you, none of them wants to become Broward County. They all live here, they've lived here for many, many years, and they answer to their neighbors and their friends. So, and having said that, it is really impossible with our, yes, award-winning comp plan, our 4-story height limit, And the fact that this county, whether a lot of people realize it or not, nearly 40% of it is owned by some government entity or another, between the county, the state, the Fed, South Florida Water Management District. So it is absolutely impossible for Martin County to become, with those restrictions, like Broward County. And on a personal note, I'm very tired of the no growth, pro growth back and forth argument when it just simply isn't true. We do need good growth, and we need to plan because, as I said, these commissioners may not always be in front of us. And it is very possible that with the backing of some developers from out of state, that we will end up with a majority of 3 commissioners that maybe haven't lived here this long, that maybe don't care the way all 5 of these commissioners do for this county. So I would ask everyone to please think about that. Thank you very much.
Mr. Martin? Good morning.
Drew Martin, I'm here on behalf of the Loxatchee Group of the Sierra Club. The Loxatchee Group of the Sierra Club opposes this change. And I'm going to argue the exact opposite of the previous speaker. I think this will cost money. I don't think this is going to bring money into your tax coffers. And the reason is because development always costs more money than it brings in. And why is that? Because it increases needs on your roads, your water and sewer, your flood. It reduces your water quality. People say, well, you're not going to become like Broward. You know, I hope they're right. But the reality is that this sort of thing opens the door. And we see this. I go from Miami to Broward up into Palm Beach, and we also go up to St. Lucie as part of the Loxatchee Group of the Sierra Club, as well as Martin County. And I see the same argument that, well, agriculture is kind of over. Although I haven't met anybody who's stopped eating yet. But people keep making that same argument. And right now, sure, some families have been in agriculture, they want to cash out. There are other people that want to get into agriculture. What concerns me is that Florida has the kind of growing season that we don't see in a lot of places. It has the availability of water we don't see in a lot of places. We see, you know, a lot of agriculture is done in places like Arizona. They're out of water. Even up in the, they call it the Ogalla Reservoir up in the Midwest. That's going to run out of water. So Florida has, you know, right now we might be moving in a direction we think, well, we need all this development, but the reality is we're going to lose the agriculture, we're going to lose the soils, and then you're not going to get it back. So we think that you need to take a look at this. The big problem with this is it's going to open the door, and these amendments open the door to other people. And I see this in Palm Beach County all the time. They give somebody an exception, and pretty soon everybody else wants to walk through that same door. Sure, this development, you might say, well, we can handle this particular development, but the problem is it's going to open the door to a lot of others. So I really think you need to think long and hard, and don't fall for the argument that this is going to increase your tax rolls, because the reality is it's going to increase your expenses. You're going to be in the same place you are, whether you do this or not financially. Thank you.
Mr. Martin? Okay, that's the last general public speaker forum that I have this morning. I have probably...
Somebody has their hand up.
Okay, well, let me finish. I have probably 15 or 18 others that specified that they wanted to be heard at the public hearing. If you'd rather not be heard at the public hearing, you can come up and speak now, and tell us who you are, and I'll take your sheet out of the pile. But these were the general public comments that we had this morning, not the public hearing comments. So, ma'am, your name?
My name is Sherston Senior, and I just filled it out wrong. Sorry about that.
That's okay. No, it's your choice, whether you want to stay and speak during the hearing or if you want to speak in public.
Now would be good.
Great.
Go.
Please, yes.
Hi, my name is Sherston Senior. I have been a resident of Martin County for going on 28 years, and I love it. And I wanted to just talk about what's actually happening in Martin County now. I hear a lot of people talking about what it's going to look like tomorrow, but right now we're having the biggest population increase this county has ever seen. Right now we have very serious road issues, as other people have mentioned. We had a bridge almost collapse that's not that old. So there are infrastructural needs that I feel are just being thought of as a tomorrow problem that are a today problem. The President of the United States warned us that we may be experiencing food shortages, and Bank of America now says we're going toward a 2008 recession again. So just expanding seems like an irresponsible and opportunistic decision to make. I am against rezoning, obviously. I heard from farmers today who, to me, were pleading with their county commissioners that they can't afford to farm their land. So they're being forced to sell out of everything that is Martin County to preserve what they're doing. So that's a problem I think you guys should be holding workshops on, since we're headed toward food shortages and we're talking about getting rid of land that can never be recaptured. Crime, huge problem right now. As somebody mentioned, a car was hijacked. So all those rich people and their polo clubs being on the highway is definitely going to need some more policing. Grass, the most environmentally unfriendly thing we can do to this county. This is pushing for more of that. This is not a yuppie county, and this is not an opportunistic developers county. Those counties are south, and this is not a playground for them. We are a high quality of living county for families and nature lovers, and that's the Martin County difference everyone speaks of. I have a sense of place because the comp plan was made the year before I was born. So thank you to Sarah Hurd for supporting this. Thank you, Stacy, also for supporting this. And thank you, Maggie Herchala, rest in peace, for bringing us all here today and creating a community that cares so much about preservation. I have original Jensen Beach pineapples, heirloom pineapples, on my land that also used to be farmer's land, and I am farming it now. I would like to second the request for an emergency moratorium on all of this and much more reconsideration. Thank you for your time.
Anybody else who would like to speak that turned in a speaker form earlier that had it under the public hearing? Yes, sir. Your name?
Yes, my name is Frank Summers. I'm a permanent resident of Martin County. I want to say at the outset, I'm opposed to the urban lifestyle rezoning plan in total, okay? But I want to come at this from a slightly different perspective. I was 33 years with the Department of Defense, 18 years as an executive. My background is pretty much, my education and training is CPA and attorney, all right? And so I'm used to dealing with facts and with analysis, all right? And as I look at the documents I've seen, and you've gotten comments, I know, from other sectors, even from the state, they say there's a number of terms in here that need to be redefined and need to be reworked, all right? This is clearly not a process that needs to be rushed, and that's kind of where I sense it is going. It doesn't need to be approved today. And so it needs to be brought back and reevaluated. If it's left the way it is, okay, my experience with working with the developmental programs with the department and the way documents are written, you're going to wind up with, in my opinion, somewhere down the road, circumstances that you're not really anticipating today and you really didn't want, right? That's why it's really critical that this document be reevaluated. I've personally worked with the growth management folks, and it has not been a pleasant circumstance where I've got an actual document, and I'm having trouble getting it enforced. So I don't think you want to send this out to the administrative people to kind of work on over the next 10 years because it'll be reinterpreted in many different ways. All right. So I think this is not a project that needs to be done right away. Second thing is I've heard a lot of discussion today, and I'm trying to build on some of the discussions I've heard. I heard a lot of discussion today about zero growth or growth. It's not an either or proposition. We're getting growth right now within the current confines of the approved plot plan for development. So you can take this plan back and rework it in such a way that if you, in fact, you want to grow development in that rural area, you don't need to go for the whole 100,000 acres today. You can do it piecemeal. And I think, in preparation for this event, I did read the latest Guardian's document on this, and they're actually advocating a much smaller approach, but they've got some problems with the documents as written too. And so what they're advocating is, take it back, rework it, okay, and then open up the public hearing and come at it from a slightly different process, all right, or approach. And at that point, you can come back and redo it. Now, that brings me to the issue of the current proposal on Bridge Road and the Decker or Becker development. That, as I understand it, doesn't require this change either, all right? So they may have to bring it back and put it under another criteria, but that still can go forward. So these are not either-or propositions. I urge the commissioners to reassess where you are today, look at this in a new perspective, and come
Sir,
up
your
with a
time's
plan.
up. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Your name is?
Randy Kropp. My name is Randy Kropp, and I've lived in Martin County for over 25 years. I moved here from Palm Beach County, was born there in 1957. My great-grandparents arrived here and resided on the Indian River in Martin County and was a citrus grove manager at that time. I can remember coming up to Stewart in Martin County forever. As a little kid, US 1. It was forever. Today, it's instant. I appreciate Martin County's limited growth. I appreciate its densities. I do. I came out of Palm Beach County. I saw what it does. But I'm going to tell you, when I moved to Martin County, I moved to Turtle Creek, which is just over the line, 50 yards, because thanks to your taxes. I moved up here and then moved to Jupiter Hills because of Jonathan Dickinson State Park. I think this place is a great community, and I'm not here to threaten anybody. You guys are great people. I've visited with a few of you, and we try to work with everybody. Now, with citrus issues over the last few years and the lack of sustainable farming, I believe we're presented with an opportunity to create a land use that would benefit all. Just with the information on Atlantic Fields, I can see how this land use would be a great benefit to the area and the rest of Martin County. The taxes generated from these communities by using this type of land, they're selling land for over $3 million. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to multiply it out. I am so glad that people can see and multiply and add and come up with a number pretty quick. They have private security, all of these private developments of the golf courses. I didn't realize that playing golf was such a bad deal, but now coming here, I'm kind of feeling kind of bad that I'm a member of a golf course. But I was born and raised on a golf course, and not a private course, but a public course. I'm a bridge contractor here in this county, working for one of the largest companies in the state for bridges. I will gain nothing from this project. I will do no work on this project. I love this county, and I love for what you guys have to do and sit up here. No threats. Thank you very much. Thank you for your service here. I sent each of you my letter, and I don't need to go any further, but thank you for everything. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else?
Yes, sir. By the way, the world's renowned architect, Tom Fazio.
Thank you. Tom Fazio. I came to Martin County in the fall of 1968, so it's been quite some time ago. I've had the opportunity to work in this county on many projects, and in the last 20 years or so, I've been consultant and worked for the Discovery Land Company on many projects throughout the country. And here today, listening to obviously the fors and against, and the growth and non-growth, and all the different complexities that relate to us all living together somehow, some way. The one thing I can attest to, and I'll put my reputation and name on the line, is that you're not going to find a better company, a better developer, a better group. It's not a developer who's here and gone. Discovery Land and their programming and their responsible methods of developing and environmentally sensitive to every piece of what they do and into the projects for the long term. It's not a short term build, take the money and leave. It's a long-term involvement, and I'm proud to be a part of it, and I think it'll be a milestone for Martin County to have such a low-density, quality, fabulous environment for open space, and I think it'll be a model. You hear about Broward County, Dade County, Palm Beach County, and all the issues. There will be nothing like this project to be built at Atlantic Fields, and I'm not sure that many other people can compare to it or make it happen. So what they're proposing and what the programming is with the association with the Becker family and a developer of this magnitude, they have the resources to make it happen, make it into one of the most unique, special, one-of-a-kind, probably not to be duplicated again, because of what they're able to do and how they've done it, and how they've done it successfully year after year and continue to do it and look to the future. So I'm proud to be a part of it. I'm proud of it for Martin County, and I think everyone who will ever see it this will be a benchmark that maybe others can't get to as high, but it'll be the kind of place that people will say, that is the special place. Thank you very much.
Sir. Anybody else? Mr. Dooley? Anybody else following Mr. Dooley? Okay.
Good morning.
Dooley, you get to be the last one.
My name's Michael Dooley, and I'm speaking in favor of the Comp Plan Text Change 2108. First, I want to publicly apologize because on February the 22nd, I appeared before this body and I misspoke. Quite frankly, my math was off. I calculated density far below what this project will bring. But after carefully digesting what the text amendment does, I support it. Why? First, as to density. I keep hearing the densities can increase fourfold. What's not taken into consideration is the loss of land that developers have to preserve off-site. 500 acres for every 1,000 acres. So today I'm going to use the number 130,000 acres. We've heard many different numbers. 130,000 acres left in Martin County, that's ag. Using case worst scenario, with every part of that land being utilized under the new text change definition, 43,000 acres will go into perpetual preserve, at least 87,000 acres to development. 61,000 of those acres need to remain open. That density at its worst case equals 17,400 units across the entire county. Under the existing land use, 1 per 20 acres give us 6,500 homes. So we're really talking about a density increase of 3 at the most. But remember, when you consider the lands that are being preserved off-site, as well as the open lands, you're preserving 80% of the total. When you look at Dade and Broward and Palm Beach County, we would be at the reciprocal of that. We'd have 80% open lands, 20% developed, as opposed to 20% open and 80% developed. I think that's good formula. To the primary urban service district line argument. The urban service district line is not forever. That line will move. It has in the past. Our comp plan dictates it. So let's go to the argument that we're eviscerating the primary plan, service district line. That is false. The text change has zero effect on the line being moved. There's a whole other conversation about the primary urban service district line, but let me offer this. The more land that is removed from potential inventory, the fewer times that line can move forward. Fewer times it can move west, east, north, or south. If you want to see westward movement, westward development, look at the lines after they moved. Let's look at Wellfield. That's where, in fact, the primary urban service district line moved. Ironic, I think, today that was in the paper. There was an article in the paper about Wellfield. 4,200 homes, 3,400 acres, 1.2 homes per acre. Look beyond the horizon. Envision growth over the next 20 to 50 years. Martin County will be far better off with a far lot less development. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I had 2 speaker forms that I called out that didn't raise their hand or didn't come forward. Terry Gibson, are you back? Are you out back anywhere? And AJ DeFlippis? Okay. We are going to break for lunch. We will come back to this item after lunch at 1:30, and we'll take up the rest of the agenda.